Thank you, Nico. Last year in Barcelona, we talked first in that room within IPSCA about the digitalizing of the release order process. At that time, it was only digitalizing release order, digital release order. Since then, we have noticed a lot of going on the criminal side in the ports of Antwerp, Rotterdam, Hamburg, and Bremerhaven, Cuxhaven as well. That is the reason why we now talk about secure release order. Secure release order on behalf of the authorities who are motivating us, urging us to do something about the whole process to make it more secure. So we are no longer talking about the digitalizing the release order process. It is up and running, the digitalized process order. It is possible to request for a release order and to exchange data regarding a release order, but to make it more secure and more resilient against certain elements and requests. We are now talking about the so-called secure release order. For the German ports, the two PCSs of DBH, Bremerhaven, Cuxhaven, no, Wilhelmshaven, and Dacosi, representing the seaport of Hamburg, decided to set up an initiative under the name of German Ports, no wonder. And we developed several services together. And one of that, how do I have to press this button. Okay. Does not work. Yeah. So I will tell you something about the secure release order and state of play in the German ports. The goals are clear. It is about more safety, but more safety when we talk about secure release order, also for the port employees and the customers. So make it secure in a way that no one can come and press you to give PIN codes or something like that over to certain elements. So that is why one of the reasons why we call it secure release order. Of course, it is all about traceability of the security reasons we need there, and get rid of the PIN codes, which are known for hundreds of years, just scribbled on a piece of paper. No PIN codes on a piece of paper. It is secure, it is digitalized, and it is not able to get hold of it. Over in Germany, we have, of course, the different stakeholders, and we are proud that they are all in our different working groups. And well, we have up and running the digitalized release order already since several years, but the secure release order, the pilot, is just starting now.
Yeah.
Nico, may I ask you to press the button?
Yeah. Yes, I'm moving the cursor here.
Okay. Just something happens. Anyone else? Okay, fine. The basic concept is, of course, just here you see the concept in the middle spider in the web is the German ports. We have the carrier side, we have the forwarding side, and terminal operator, and the modes of transport for the hinterland. And since we have, especially on the hinterland transportation side, we have a lot of subcontractors passing on the PIN codes nowadays. Yeah, it works. We have, of course, to take care of passing on the rights of pickup. On the following slides, I will elaborate a bit further the different areas we cover with the German ports. We have the so-called upper side, which is mainly concentrating on the digitalized process with the carrier. On the left-hand side, you see the forwarding side with all these subcontractors. We have, I will elaborate a little bit further on the truck terminal communication and of course on the technical side, which is area number 4.
Yeah. Maybe because apparently the people online are not seeing the slides which we see here.
Okay. Perhaps this one, or shall I?
No. Yeah, no, but it's.
Now I'm pressing here, perhaps.
Yeah, no, because you cannot do it. You cannot see the presentation or they see this. They need to see the full screen. They see for online me presented. I think that's okay now.
Yeah, but you should go into presentation mode.
Okay.
It's not presentation mode. It is.
Now it is.
No, it is. And so going. And that was me. Okay.
No, but but the people online, no,
they still see this one. What about if I share? Yeah. Okay, for the people online, sorry. Again, it is about the goals. By the way, the PowerPoint is to be shared afterwards. So it is mainly safety for port employees and customers. That is one of the main reasons why it is now secure release order called. It is about, of course, as always, traceability, security, especially when collecting import containers, but it also works for export containers. And get rid of that scribbled PIN code. Yeah. Here you see just a small design of the spider in the web. I called it before the German ports module. Everyone is exchanging data via the German ports, via the PCS, acting as a so-called blockchain. It is a PCS is normally a blockchain in itself. Everyone is exchanged via that. The currently authorized company can be verified for especially when it comes to the hinterland transportation. Quite often you see it on the left-hand side, especially forwarders, logistics companies work with subcontractors. And we are passing on the right to pick up the container that is in former times, someone gave you via SMS, he texted you the PIN code and you can show up at the gate at the terminal operator and get the container. Nowadays, it is with passing on the container, passing on the pickup, right? In order to give you a better overview, we are talking about different areas within the German port. We talk about the upper side, which is mainly concentrating on the carrier. The left-hand side is the forwarding side. We have now the discussion between truck and terminals, and of course the technical area managed by German ports. The normal process is, of course, that the forwarder sends a digitized request for getting a release order. German ports is passing that request forward to the carrier, and the release order, including the named depot for the empty container, after the transport has finished, is then being forwarded to the forwarder together with the PIN code. We have different topics, of course. When we are concentrating on about the carrier, we have to offer solutions for carrier and merchant haulage. We have to have more and additional container information to share with the supply chain. The connection should be available via web GUI, via EDI and API. The depot change is a specific request we got from the trucking companies, that it is able to ask for a depot change, and some additional modes of transport, of course, also have to be covered by the whole system. With the solution of German ports, you can either do it via our web GUI, or we have different platforms already up and running. We did not start from scratch for both PDH and also are in the market and operating since the early 90s, early 80s, since 82. Of course, the existing platforms has to be integrated in the whole systems, and we have a big variety and possibilities to offer to the market how to connect to the whole system. That is the truck solution. It is not shown correctly here. We have also for especially for trucks within the German ports, we have a vehicle booking system, and this vehicle booking system, the slot booking and the identity providing systems up and running for truck drivers has, of course, to be part of the whole systems. They are integrated into the secure release order system. Here again, just some possible connections to German ports. A bit of a lot of syllables and letters, but these are all different platforms you may use if you are not able to do it electronically via EDI or API. And of course, the traceability and the secure encrypted PIN code is one of the areas we tackle within the German ports module. Further steps at the German ports, we have now a lot of working groups still to do. The milestones for 2024 is the conceptual area and the starting of the pilots. And within the second half year of this year, we will fully roll out the whole system. And beforehand, Nico asked some questions. I should tackle with the general process. You will find it here. The architecture is, of course, you can do it via API. You can connect via API, via a web interface, or via one of the existing platforms of the PCSs of Germany. The timeline, well, we started this year with the rollout and the pilot. And what is very important, it is not mandatory. There is no legal obligation to use it. But as I mentioned before, we have the authorities always sitting at the table, looking very friendly around, motivating everyone and urging everyone to participate and to digitalize in the whole process. They're really motivating us, but there is not a legal obligation now to use it. We make it mandatory by the house rights of the tunnel operators. They say, they, as well as the carriers, said, we wanted that you use it. It is not mandatory by law. We make it mandatory by house right. And there's also no public money in it. It is all investment by the community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Evelyn. Yeah, maybe we will not do it, the questions one by one. I propose that we do the presentations first and then yes.
This one is working.
It was really a few minutes ago. We have Diederik back again. We need to table switch Tanger. We'll be focusing on Diederik, if all is okay, you should be able to hear us.
Yes, I hear you.
Yeah, perfect.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, and sorry again for the mistake of this morning. Yeah, normally you should be able to share your screen yourself. So please go ahead, Diederik. Maybe if you also just can introduce yourself very short to the audience.
All right. Okay, my name is Diederik van Daal. I am program manager for Secure Chain and as such responsible for the content of the port-based Secure Chain. So, and I think a year ago we also made a presentation. I think that was delivered by Stephanie, and we're now 1 year further, and I'd like to give you an update on what our status is. This afternoon we have a company social event. That's why I look a bit party-like. So excuses for that. Apologies for that. All right, I'll share my screen. Let me see. Do you see my screen?
Not yet.
No. Okay. Try it again. Share.
I think, yeah, now we see it. We see it in the PowerPoint mode. So if you can just put it in presenter mode.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. Well, good afternoon. I would like to share some information about port-based Secure Chain. Secure Chain is a program which is initiated and supported by the whole port community of Rotterdam, and port-based acts as the IT provider. We made a very clear distinction in that we have a community-wide program, and which is supported by the whole community, and then the role of port-based is to be the IT provider, but all other parties are heavily involved in getting this up and running. And they said that was not initially not the case, but I would say mid 2023, so almost a year ago, the Port Authority, but also the gemeente, the community of Rotterdam, and the carriers, they said, okay, well, now we have to get moving, get going. And they decided to make the introduction, the way of working, as we call the secure chain, to make it obligatory. So there is no legal, referring to the last points of Evelyn, in Rotterdam, there is also no legal basis for this. This is a commercial obligation. Okay. So if you look at the program, there are several different tracks. One of them is our own identities, secure identities. We have introduced multi-factor authentication in 2022, but we're also implementing more tools to make sure that the user administration of companies is up and running, is up to date, so that there are no old users still have no longer working for an organization still have access by under the name of this organization. And we're also working on getting a system in place where we do have a regular update of organization data. So whether a company organization still exists, still registered in the Chamber of Commerce, still doing a Bradstreet, stuff like that. Secure chain is what I will talk about later. But there are also other projects which are related. So there's improvements at the terminals. One of them is a kind of what we call remote check-in or TAR check-in, which makes the PIN code less relevant. Yeah. And then another one is that the terminals will implement a system where they will actually check that the inland transport operator, the truck operator mainly, is the one which has been pre-announced. Other things which are actually happening is that customers have reduced the lead time for inspections from 72 to 48, and they will, I think they already started with, to 24 hours. That's also a major improvement, expected to have a major impact on the security. And one last thing is that customs wants to reduce the circle of organizations informed about inspections. Well, these are the shipping lines actually participating. So all major shipping lines are participating. Zim has recently also started. And Evergreen is about to get started. All lines carrying containers from Latin America are active at this moment. And we're working for the big carriers, the deep sea carriers, and for the big terminals in Rotterdam. Well, this is what we have done. That's the picture I've shared, well, that Stephanie has shared a year ago. So what we do is the PIN code is a very well, it's not a very secure way to release containers. That's made clear in this slide. Now in the process, especially at the carrier side, criminals can obtain PIN codes and use this PIN code to get hold of a container. And what we have done, we said, well, we have eliminated the PIN code, and it's now a process in which the authority to pick up a container, the authorization is transferred within the port-based services. This is more secure, it's more clear. Of course, abuse is still possible, but it is much more difficult. So we have developed a system in end of 2022. We have piloted in 2023, and now it's being scaled up. if you look at the status per now, we have released, well, today it's even more, but like 178,000 containers. There are 718 inland operators, mainly truck operators are involved, almost 800 shippers, forwarders, and at this moment we cover about 30% of the import containers, and that includes all containers coming from Latin America. And we will expand the scope, we'll increase the scope in the next months to include North America, and then we'll further do this by geographical areas, and we expect that somewhere end quarter 1 2025, all deep sea containers will be covered by the secure chain. So currently we are just focusing on deep sea and Rotterdam terminals. Of course, there are more types of container traffic. So we have feeder, short sea. There are some other Dutch ports, Vlissingen, Moerdijk, in which containers arrive. Inland terminals, the inland CY construction, where the carrier, the deep sea carrier, organizes the transport until the inland terminal. We're investigating this moment what the impact would be for these different subjects, and then based upon that, we'll come with a plan. If you look at our resource availability, then this year I don't think we can do much more than what we're currently doing. So next year we'll be doing more things. And one remark which might be interesting for this meeting is that if you look at the inland terminals, they could be doing business with several deep sea ports. It's quite interesting maybe to find a common ground to see how we can solve that. Because I think that well, if you have an inland terminal in Belgium or in Germany or in Holland, and well, in Holland you could be dealing with Rotterdam and Antwerp, but in Germany you could even be dealing with all three. And of course, it would be very interesting to come with a solution which is easily connected or implemented for all three ports. This is, of course, possibly easier said than done, but I think it would be very interesting to look into that. Okay, we have a website about secure chain, https secure chain, secure-chain.eu. There's a lot of information available there, and I think this, if you want to know more, please check that. And if you have any more questions, then please contact us. You can contact us to Stephanie, and we will happily respond to your questions. That was my story for today.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Diederik. Yeah, we will postpone the questions until, yeah, I will highlight a bit the situation in Antwerp, and then after that we can have questions either for one of the three or four, because also Tanger will join the discussion then. So please stand by us for a moment.
Okay, I will do that.
Yeah, normally the people online also should hear us again. Just, I don't have any slides, but I showed the process last year just to repeat and highlight again. And I think it's quite similar to the situation in Germany and also in Rotterdam. The process is actually that the carrier issues the release order via our system. And it's actually, yeah, the metaphor of a stick which you pass to the next one in the supply chain.
in the system itself, also not internally. There's no whatever pin code generated anymore. I know there are some solutions who do it only in their internal system, just to have the connection with the terminals, and that they should not, let's say, change their system too drastically in one moment. We opted for, and because it's a process that we started in 2020, we talked with the terminals and we said, yeah, we don't want also neither external, like it's basic process, but also not internally into the system. We will not generate internal pin codes whatsoever. We don't want to we won't completely get rid of that. So that's why there went some time over, because the terminals and also the carriers needed to update their systems. In the end, on the 15th of January this year, we did a full rollout into production of the system for the tidal, the full container terminals on the tidal docks. For the situation in Antwerp, we have 7 locks. So we have full container terminals before the locks and also full container terminals behind the locks. We opted for a gradual approach between 15th of January and the end of February. Each week, there were extra terminals and extra carriers each week, which were obliged to use the solution is called CPU, Certified Pickup. And that was a gradually phased approach into the production environment. So by the end of February, the 4 full container terminals before the locks were using the system for the full 100%. They are, I think, about 85–90% of the import containers which they are handling in the port. Now, and as from tomorrow, actually, we will put the same system into production for the container terminals behind the locks. So that will be done as from tomorrow. Just a bit on the legal aspect. Like Evelyn, you mentioned the situation in Germany. It's not required to use it at this moment. We decided to have a required use of the certified pickup system. So everybody needs by what is it, municipal decree of the local port legislation, that everybody needs to use the system. So that's also, I think, one thing that should be mentioned, and which is quite important for a system to come into place as a required use. And also there are plans in the next few months. We will also not only roll out the system in further in Antwerp, but also in the port of Zeebrugge, near to the North Sea. There is also one full container terminal which will then use the system. And we also have plans in the coming months for federal police to use the system. They will have they will get a view on the data into the system, but not on a free basis, not just logging into the system and then checking all the containers. No, they will have, or they will need a certain court order based on what they will do their research on a specific container or a specific investigation. And with that number of the court order, they will be able to see the data which is relevant to that specific container. So I think that's about it, about the update from last year until now. I hope that's giving a bit of an insight on how you implement that into a production environment. Any questions, either for Evelyn on the German situation, Diederik for Rotterdam, or for Antwerp? We can also have questions, because that's why we asked Adil to the floor here as well. He elaborated, our chairman needs to leave, so bye, Javier. Thank you very much. Because I illustrated the yesterday in your presentation, also on the container release, which was using the blockchain. I think not Germany, you're not using
We had one up and running, and
Yeah.
I can explain why we.
Yeah,
left
we
it.
will elaborate a bit because I think that that's important to understand. And I also don't think in Rotterdam and also not in Antwerp, we're not using blockchain. So maybe we can elaborate. We will first let Adil maybe elaborate on maybe the precise reasons why blockchain was used, and then we can go back to Evelyn for the reasons not to use blockchain. Yeah. Okay.
I would prefer if she started.
Yep.
I would prefer if she starts, why she starts.
Ah, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, also. Yeah. Yeah.
I better answer.
Yeah, no problem.
As I mentioned before, we have the digitalized release order already up and running for some years now. And one of the aspects was one of the different sides of that project was to do it also as a blockchain. So we had the digitalized release order up and running, and then we were specifically asked by the terminal operators to set up a blockchain release order project. Well, it was it was modern. Everyone wanted the blockchain. So we had a blockchain as well. We did set it up. We had a very active community. We had 4 carriers, 4 forwarders, 4 trucking companies, and of course the big 2 terminals, HMI and Eurogate, participating in this blockchain project. We even got research money. And we had the university as part of it, so we covered all aspects, all topics, and we very soon discovered after the first setup of our blockchain project. Something else? Oh my God. That first of all, the carriers, as well as the forward of the trucking companies, said blockchain is making it transparent. Everyone that I'm working with subcontractors, I want to hide my subcontractors. The transparency, which is the main topic of blockchain, was not at all wished for by our pilot partners. So the carriers, they did want to hide from the terminals. If they were terminal operators, the terminal operators wanted to hide the carriers they are working with, the trucking companies and the forwarders wanted to hide their subcontractors to their orders. So everyone wanted to be, well, not transparent. And transparency is one of the key elements of the blockchain. So we had to figure out, and we were able to work against the inner rules of a blockchain. We did set up a blockchain network consisting of different blockchains. Everyone established this one blockchain, but we were able to build a rule which hided those other partners in your blockchains from the others. So there was not the possibility, for instance, for a terminal operator or for a carrier, by recalculating what is in the blockchain, to figure out how much business that one is doing with that one. Well, that was obviously nothing at all, not wished for. So we did set up a network of blockchains, different blockchains, hiding everything, but only giving the info, which was quite an issue. And one of my team made his thesis, so he received his doctorate by writing a thesis about how we make blockchain intransparent. Big success. So the one reason is blockchain is not adopted for a logistics community because it is transparent. And secondly, we have, of course, small companies like the trucking companies, like forwarders, who did not want to invest in a blockchain. They said, blockchain is nice, but can't we do it like we used to do it for the past 30 years with your PCS? PCS, suppose we exchange data via the PCS, and it is still secure and not transparent to the others, but it is secure for me. So that is why we had successfully finished our blockchain project. And within our German courts secure release order, there is the possibility still for those who want to exchange the data by the Robert in our blockchain project. For those who want to exchange data with us, they can switch over to Robert, to our blockchain release order. Up to now, not even the terminal operators choose that way. They are using our German courts solution.
Thank you for the clarifications. Your point is very relevant. So in our case, the main reason why we wanted to use blockchain is not only for, it's for the secure release pickup, but optimization and securization, not only to make it secure, but to make it optimized. And one of the documents that we could not remove out, paper documents, is the release order document, which is exchanged against the bill of lading. So once you get the bill of lading from the freight forwarder to the importer, then he has to give it to his transitaire, freight forwarder, not freight forwarder, but customs broker. Yeah, thank you, Lisa. And then this customs broker needs to come to the terminal and exchange it after payments of all the fees into sub release orders per unit, per container, or per truck. And then distribute these sub-release orders to the different transporters. And this paper is like a check, it's like money, it's the title of property, and without it, you cannot release the cargo. So we wanted to digitalize, to remove that. This is why blockchain, with all its inherent technical advantages, transparency and security and trust, can enable us to tokenize these documents and remove them, digitalize them. So this is why we opt for blockchain. Second is for the optimization aspect, blockchain can bring different stakeholders and the different business rules that are spread across the different systems can be grouped in one system and automatized via smart contracts. And the blockchain can talk to the external world via the events, the mechanism, the oracle that allows us to receive payments or send the events. So this allows for automation and control automation that we described yesterday inside the blockchain with the governance mechanism to how to update these rules. Then there is what you just said, which is one of the main issues with blockchain, but the most successful use case of blockchain, of which is Bitcoin, is public. Now there is the private blockchain, which takes into consideration these kind of issues. So permissioned private, you have the big stakeholders who control who can join the system, who control the mechanism of attributing rights to the different users. And there is this, the channel mechanism that allows inside one blockchain to have different sub-channels that only the concerned parties can join and can see and can know of. You don't even know of a channel if you're not part of it inside the blockchain. So this is to handle these kind of issues. There is also in order to have control without saying the data, the light node. So if you can participate into a channel with a light node, so you validate transactions, but you validate the choice of the transaction. So can you participate in proving it's right without having the data? There is the using cryptography. So we put some data in one channel, but we crypt it. So only the ones who have the key can decrypt the data. And there's a fork mechanism, I forgot about the exact name, which is more complicated. So with these four mechanisms, we are trying to find a good balance for that issue, which is exactly the governance issue and exactly why some big blockchain projects fail. But in our case, we need to tokenize the release order. We need to tokenize the unit release order. We want to go further to tokenize the bill of lading, but it's more international projects. This is why we're looking for international endeavors. But for some short like from Al Jazeera to here, we can, or with Rotterdam, we can find somebody who would like to join. There is the legal aspect that needs to follow, which is one of the difficulties with blockchain now, which is the legal aspect, the insurance aspect. And if we cover that, then we can speed up even that 3 days of sending by FedEx, the bill of lading also. So this is what we want to. It's not only the PIN code, it's the tokenizing the documents, property documents which have a property value.
First to answer that about the channels and the status messages. We at the group we have of course the advantage of the early. So we have up and running platforms, and as we have before, IIT, Bit, and so on. That is our message platform, for instance. So every single one doing business in Hamburg, it is not mandatory, but they do it on a what is it?
Free basis.
Free basis, they do it because it is speeding up the system. Everyone is part of the message platform and the channeling and passing on rights and information and status information and collecting data and sending data to those people who are not only interested but also authorized to get that status information. That is done via our different platforms. So the release order is just one additional service. We connected it is via our platforms, and if there are some people, for instance, like the one waiting for his container and he wants to know whether the container is still at the premises of the terminal operator, or is there already the pickup done by the transport company. If he authorizes it, if he registers himself, then he gets the status information. He can either request it or it is a push or pull, depending on what the owner of the data if he forwarded the rights or not. So that is the advantage of being an early bird. We have these platforms already up and running. Everyone is connected to that, and if he just click in the service and says, I want to get all these status information, he can get it. So that is why we do not need these additional features of a blockchain within our secure release order.
Maybe there's a misunderstanding. We don't use blockchain for all we use blockchain mainly for the property ownership transfer.
Not
So the traceability, this is in an above system in this year. So but in order to tokenize, like money become Bitcoin, in order to decentralize, you need blockchain. You can't tokenize without blockchain, and this is, and also it's distributed governance. So this allows many different parties to have the control on the automation of the routes. And then there is the PCS, there is the TOS, there is the transport management system that connects to the blockchain to do the upper level thing.
I'm looking a bit at the time, so I think we need to switch to our next speaker. Are there any urgent questions to all? Yeah, maybe. Because then we have to.
It is a very good report from UCAP about blockchain, global reports on blockchain and its application on self-facilitation performance. And there is a tool that I'll give you there, a decision tree, how decision tree for the use of blockchain in use case. And there is three levels using blockchain. The student gives you all the inputs that you give it to this decision tree, and gives you if you want to have to balance to blockchain or only as a hybrid system with the classic database and blockchain, and also if you have only to have a traffic database with a cryptographical system to share encrypted data. It's very good to know.
Yeah, thank you, Youssef, to emphasize that. And yeah, which will definitely be very useful. Yeah, but yeah, I'm not going to that because we need to wrap up. So we will. Yeah, I think we can also share that information onto our community platform, maybe for all the members that they can look into that. So I think that will be very useful. Just a very last one because we really need to wrap up.
Just,
Yeah.
the whole thing about representing this release order or secure release order here is, of course, that I hope for that all PCSs in the world will offer at least similar or harmonized interfaces to the carriers and the forwarders. For most of the forwarders and carriers are working internationally, and it is better and easier to convince them to use the secure release order if we as a PCS, as IPCSA members, are able to offer perhaps not standardized, but at least harmonized interfaces and processes to our customers, to our common customers. And that is my big topic over here, to try to convince, if you think about setting up something like a secure release order, please get in contact to one of us and ask whether at least the database can be harmonized. For that is a good reason, and for the forwarders and carriers to participate in the whole process.
Yeah.
Sensible.
So yeah, I think we all agree on that no problem at all. And I hear here a bit call to action for a working group which you are able to share then with that request or that dream, probably. But let's think about that.
Our general secretary.
Yeah, thank you all. Thank you, Adil. Yeah, thank you, Evelyn. Also, thank you to Diederik online. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.